Do you believe we don't get free? Do you believe in liberation? Do you believe in freedom? Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to protect the person next to you? Are you? Are you? Welcome to Law4BlackLives.
This convening is rooted in the tradition of movement lawyering, using the law to deconstruct and rebuild a society that values Black lives and Black communities.
Being in a space with like-minded individuals who are really interested and invested in rallying around the movement for Black lives, it's been amazing to listen to the variety of different speakers, diverse speakers.
It's really important to, I think, continue to dream. I dream about Black trans women not being misgendered in news articles after they're murdered. We've really been taught to believe that there's a right way. The right way is killing us.
If we look at history, lawyers have always been a part of social movements, defending people that are asking for justice. And so our hope with bringing people together in Law4BlackLives was to not just meet a need in the community, but it was also to start a conversation around how do lawyers be a part of that movement in a way that builds power.
The lawyers are not what creates the victories in the courtroom. What creates the victories in the courtroom are folks like you who are out there in the streets.
Talk about what this is really about, which is folks that are getting shot and dying in the streets, and we need to stop that. We need to stop it by building kind of a culture of love. We really had a real call to action around Black Lives Mattering.
If we can't talk about Black collective control and community ownership, then we have missed the boat. And it's not just on a governance level, it's on an economic level.
We've seen examples in our history where there has been radical lawyering. I think Thurgood Marshall is an example of that, of how are people using the law as a tool to advance opportunities for social justice. I also think this is a time now for lawyers to really stand up and stand with folks who are on the streets organizing.
Part of what has happened is that what Black Lives Matter writ large and what Ferguson in particular has generated is a new form of leadership that is primarily connected to the suffering of the Black lumpen proletariat. That's a unique moment in our history. In fact, it's the first time in the history of Black people since the Civil War that the Black lumpen proletariat have set the terms of the debate.
You don't have to have comprehension to have compassion. So to me, that's kind of what solidarity is. Joining with people who you might not necessarily identify with in every aspect of your own identity, but just being able to support one another, have compassion, recognizing humanity in one another.
So when I say, what is the role of lawyers? The role of lawyers is to understand that we're there to protect the movement. We are there to protect our people from harm, not to fold in with the system. Not to fold in with the system.
Going down to Ferguson shortly after Mike Brown was killed, talking with activists and organizers and community folks, we began to really see a need for how lawyers should show up. The idea was to be useful, to be able to do it in service of the movement.
I want people, specifically Black people, to leave this event feeling hopeful, and I really want people to leave today feeling like there is a new day coming. As long as we strategize together, build together, and love each other, that'll happen.
Find the folks on the ground where you're at who are organizing and reach out.
There's probably someone in your community who's looking for you. They're looking for the skills and the abilities and the experience that you bring to this, and just make those connections and put it out there however you can, and you don't have to be alone in this.
If you really want to impact the issue, the first thing you do is ask yourself, what is my individual, collective, and communal relationship to the issue or issues?
Whatever region you're in, if you aren't already doing work with teams on the ground, start doing the work with teams on the ground. We need y'all to show up locally.
I think there's a question for many people of how do we go from the streets to strategy? How do we go from protest to power building?
If we are a movement that's going to fundamentally abolish policing, as we understand it, we have to shift that power from the state into our communities. And so I believe this is the extension of the Black Power movement.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom! It is our duty to win! We must love and support one another! We must love
We believe in creating a space that is affirming, healing, transparent, and respectful, and a space that doesn't replicate the kinds of oppression, harm, and trauma that we are working against. We will strive to have patience with and forgiveness for one another as we build together. Freedom! Freedom! Freedom!